Hey guys, this is Bharadwaj with phonearena.com and this is Android 4.4 KitKat on the Nexus 4. Yes, we just flashed Android 4.4 KitKat on the Nexus 4. This is a Nexus 5 port and this ROM was available on XDA developers. So we flashed it on the Nexus 4 to see how the Nexus 5's UI is going to be, including the pre-installed apps and other things. So I've been using it as the main daily driver for about a day or so. So what you're going to see now is what all I noticed in terms of Android 4.4 changes and a complete in-depth walkthrough of it. So that's what we are going to do right now. So first, I'm going to start with UI changes. So these user interface changes have been changed a lot from the Android 4.3 version. So right away you can notice that the launcher is different. So this is called the Google Search Launcher. This is the home screen. You can see that the status bar and the bottom bar is translucent. You can even see that the app list, the background is not just black anymore, it's translucent and there is no widgets page. So this is the launcher. There are a lot of changes and we really like it. The icon size has been increased according to the screen density. So it used to be 48 pixels, now it's 60 pixels, and so the icons look a bit bigger than usual. And again, you can see that we are calling this the Google Search Launcher because Google now is completely integrated, and that's when you do a swipe to the right, you directly go into Google Now. So that's how integrated Google Now is with this launcher. You can also launch it by pressing on the home button and dragging upwards. That's the usual way we launch the Google Now. So now it's like just a swipe away. And also one more thing is that Google Now is always listening in this launcher. So when we say, "Okay Google," it'll open up the voice commands. So let me try that again. "Okay Google." As you see, the Speak Now already opens and it tries to recognize my voice commands. So I've disconnected the internet for now because I'm using this as a daily driver and don't want notifications to interrupt in this video. But anyway, that's how it works, and you saw that it works indeed. We should just say "Okay Google" and it will open up the voice commands. So anyway, as you can see, the Google Now is completely integrated and it's also new, but we'll talk about that later. So the launcher, as you can see, has a different app list icon too and a lot of other changes. So wallpapers and widgets are now different. You can just select them with a long press. You can see that you can add wallpapers, widgets, and you also have settings that will take you right into Google Now settings, unlike the launcher settings. But then you can change the wallpapers and the widgets right from the long press. There is no different menu there. This is the default wallpaper of the Nexus 5. So just proving that it's indeed the Nexus 5 ROM, because on AOSP you don't get these wallpapers. So I'm using this wallpaper, which has been the default go-to wallpaper in many promos. So it makes you a little bit more familiar with the UI. And widgets are in a different screen and you can just drag and drop them as usual, but you can also create a new page here. So that's the launcher. I'm just not gonna bother with adding more widgets. So that's the new Google Search Launcher. You can also call this the Google Now Launcher because that's what it does mainly. Its direct access to Google Now is of very high importance, and the constantly listening UI here in the OK Google voice command, that's also really important. See, again, it recognized my voice. So yeah, the animations have changed. You can see that Google Now has a really nice animation. The whole opening up effect and the closing down effect, it's really nicely done. A lot of other changes too we notice, including the lock screen. So let's open the lock screen and show you. So The lock screen is pretty much the same, but again translucent status bar, and you can see two new icons here. Usually what we do is we swipe to the left and the lock screen widget opens. But if you don't do that, you can also drag the camera icon on at the bottom right, just an indication that you can indeed open the camera from the right. So it doesn't open upwards, even if this pointer indicates upwards. So first I tried opening it upwards, but it didn't work, and then of course the lock screen widget method obviously worked. But this, which used to be a circle, now opens up Google Now. So Google Now is not a separate app in this launcher. It will just take you to the screen and you can swipe right to go to the home screen again. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, interface elements do resemble iOS 7, but still pretty nice that Google have changed these icons, which look much better on the lock screen, and the lock screen itself looks really better. So that's the new lock screen. You can obviously add the widgets and all that in the lock screen, which is same as 4.2. And next, another change in terms of the launcher we noticed is that the fonts are different. Let me just zoom in a little bit. You can see that the fonts are more condensed, like the HTC One perhaps. This makes for better text, better compression in text. So longer app names can now be accommodated a lot better. You can see that the Google settings is still truncated, but still a lot of long app names, for example, play games, which would be overflowing definitely. That's in the normal font. So that's a good change. And considering that the fonts, the icons are bigger than usual, the font change makes it look slightly better. We really like it. We really like the change. Another change in terms of the user interface is that the neon blue is almost gone. So you can notice that the neon blue that used to be in the indicator at the notification bar bottom is now gone, and you can see that all the toggles that were blue are now white. You can also see that some icons have changed and they have added a location toggle too. So pretty nice that they have changed to white, because you'll know that it's almost in accordance with the whole design language, which we will see in just shortly. So yeah, neon blue is gone. And also you can note that a lot of dark elements are now white. So the folder, which used to be dark, is now white, which makes it look much more cleaner than before. And also we note that there are still no folders inside the app list. So the folders are just in the launcher part of the home screen, which is okay, I guess, but then you can see the white changes here. It's also evident that the neon blue is almost non-existent, because it is still existent in some places, but you can notice that they have tried to clean up a lot of places. This used to be blue, so that's now white. The scrolling indicator that you see at the end of a list used to be blue and now it's white, but we still see some parts of the blue UI. For example, in mobile networks, you can see that the blue line is back. This was not the case here, which used to be completely blue. So they haven't changed completely, but we think that's a right direction to take. Probably they'll issue an update that will change the complete UI of everything to Holo Light, perhaps. That's what we want to call the black and white scheme. White is a lot more pronounced in Android 4.4 KitKat than before. So moving on, we have new icons for several apps. For example, the dialer itself is a new app, so it has got a new icon. You also can see new icons for settings, camera, and more. Actually, you have got new icons for Google now, which is the Google search app. It's more matte and probably less shadows here. You've got new icons for other apps too. For example, the Photos app, which is actually a new app in itself. And then you have got new icons for the Quick Office app too, but that's part of the app. The major changes we saw are for the camera app and the settings app. That's the major change, and still the sim toolkit icon remains the same, which looks very dated amongst the newer icons, which are accordance with the new design language. So that's the new icons. And one more thing we noted is that the tooltips that used to pop up when the small notifications at the bottom of the phone, for example, I'll show you this. So clicking on the build number, you can see that no need, you're already a developer. That's for enabling the developer options. You can see that the rectangular tooltip is now more rounded and it looks better than what it was, and it also uses the new font for the notifications, so it condensed, and you can read a lot more in the short pop-up notification, which I want to call as the tooltip. So that's one thing. And the obvious change here is the translucent UI. So the translucent status bars, the translucent app list. So these are some of the changes that we noted for the Google launcher. And there's also the immersive mode. So for that, I'll go into the settings and the about page so that I can show you the Easter egg of Android 4.4. So tapping on the Android 4.4 will reveal the K, which you can spin, and holding again, it will reveal Android 4.4. So till now, you can see that the controls are still visible. So if I hold even further, it opens up this UI in immersive mode. So why I'm saying this is in immersive mode is because there is no controls, but you can let them reveal the controls by swiping up from the top or from the down, and it will reveal itself. So that's the immersive mode, and it will be coming to games and a lot more apps, which will make the reading and consumption of content really nice. For example, the video players used to have this three lame dots on the sides that will spoil the viewing experience. Now that's gone. You've got the immersive full screen mode that will manage these controls much better, and all it requires is a swipe from the up or down and it will reveal itself. So that's pretty cool that Google have done this. It was a much needed feature for software overlaid icons, unlike other devices which have hardware controls which don't come in the way. So anyway, that's the translucent UI and the full screen stuff. So another thing we have increasingly noticed is that Holo Light is majorly implemented. So whatever things you used to have in the older Android versions, so this used to be dark or perhaps white itself, but most of these user interface elements like the share contract used to be dark, but now it's white, which makes it a lot cleaner. But we still have the blue accents here, which will probably change to black once they implement the Holo UI completely. But yeah, that's one thing we have noticed. It doesn't appear in several other apps, like for example the gallery. The gallery doesn't still have the light app. It has the you can see here that it's still dark. This is still dark, but probably they'll change it to white and then it will turn to Holo Light too. But for now that is untouched, but otherwise these sharing elements are Holo Light, unlike Holo Dark before. We also noticed that a lot of apps have embraced the white design. So talking of whiter apps, we have a lot of new apps in Android 4.4 KitKat, and one of them, the most prominent one, is the dialer. That's a huge change from before. So the app is completely white and you have a dark dialer which can do quick dial, which is pretty cool. Finally they have done it. But the most prominent feature here of the dialer is that you can search nearby listings. So for example, if I want to call Pizza Hut, I don't want to go to their website and find it, but I can directly search from the dialer. So for example, this is the Pizza Hut, and if I find something nearby, I can directly call Pizza Hut right from the dialer, which is pretty cool. Really, really cool stuff. This is one of the best features of the dialer we have we want this probably in every dialer we use from now onwards, because so many times we have tried searching on the internet using other services to find the specific location's number, for example any restaurant or any hotel, but Google Maps always has that info, but now it's easily accessible just using the dialer app. I think that's the best thing they have done with the dialer. So contacts searching in Google Maps local listings is not the only thing. The dialer, also known as the call UI, is now using the local listings as the Truecaller like service. For example, it will pick up the number from the local listing and display the information when you get a call, just like Truecaller, which is another interesting thing they have done. But another app that has changed a little bit is Hangouts. Hangouts now has SMS integration, and all your SMSs just pop up right in Hangouts. As you can see, these are all SMSs and these are all chats. So there is a clear demarcation, but we think we are better off using an SMS app for managing SMS than Hangouts. But if you chat to a person who has SMS and Hangouts, it will be decide based on the network and send messages that way. So that's one cool thing that they have done with Hangouts, and Hangouts can now send GIFs too. But what if you want to change the default SMS app? Well, they have provided an option to change the default SMS app inside the settings. If you install a different SMS app, that will be your default SMS app, unlike before, which used to receive SMS in the default messaging app as well as the third-party app. But now you can configure the default SMS app and let it get the SMS directly. So that's one thing. If you don't want to use Hangouts, then you clearly have the choice. That's good. And other apps that have clearly changed, we wished they had changed the icon, but at least the app has now changed. The Downloads app, which used to be dark and clearly archaic for Android 4.0, now it's a clear white holo light app. So that's the look of the Downloads app, and it has list view and sorting. That's about it. Pretty normal app, and you can have different views for it. That's about it. And other thing that comes pre-installed with the the Android 4.4 KitKat, forgive me, that's Quick Office. Quick Office also has a very similar design. Just you saw that the Downloads app also had a very similar design, but the change here is that it can now access files directly from Drive or even new services like Box and Dropbox. So the storage access framework that's introduced in Android 4.4 KitKat is in full use here, and you can also directly get to the Downloads app from here. As you can see, it's pretty similar, the user interface, and this is a pattern on other apps too. But unlike the Holo Light apps, the clock is still Holo Dock, but has a really nice new UI. So this is pretty similar to what you saw in Android 4.3, but adding an alarm is pretty new. This is the new dial-like interface, the clock-like interface for setting the alarm, and you can choose several the minutes and the hours just using the touch of the clock-like dial, which is pretty nice, nicely done, and we like this new alarm app. So other apps that have changed a little bit, no big change, is the People app. So it has lost the blue bar. As you can see, it's completely holo light now, and right in accordance with the other apps like YouTube, or perhaps what you saw in the top bar seems to be very similar on all the apps, which is pretty nice. They have neatly cleaned up the user interface, which was like in all the places till now for different apps. And finally, talking of slight changes, Google now has a lot of new changes. So as you can see, 3 buttons at the bottom. One is customize. You can customize the different options just using that button. And now it's settings, which will take to the Google Now settings. And then you have the reminders that you can set with Google Now with voice. So that will be listed here. So that's the new changes, and you have a lot of new cards and stuff that will automatically pop up when you use the Google Now app. So now that it's a part of the launcher, it's much more integrated than before. So that's one thing that we have noted in terms of new apps. Now, finally, on to the small changes to the OS. So under the hood, there has been a lot of changes, but we can't actually show this now. It's made for more devices to accommodate 512 MB memory. So they want to target the next billion with this release, the next billion that is going to connect to the internet. So cheaper devices running Android 4.4 should be good. Till now, Android 2.3 or Android 4.0 has been seen on lower end devices with 512 MB RAM. But with 4.4 KitKat, it should be much more easier because they have introduced better memory management for better lower end devices and better multitasking too. So that's one thing, but there's also other changes like tap and pay.